The big funny car event of the season is coming. Friday and Saturday, June 16th and 17th. The Twisted Shifters Summer Nationals. Presented by The biggest funny car event of the season is coming. Friday and Saturday, June 16th and 17th. The Twisted Shifters Summer Nationals. Presented by 360 Steel. It's funny car chaos. With nearly 3 dozen outlaw flip-top plastic fantastics. Invading Cordova Dragway. Plus gear jam and hot rods with Midwest Pro Stocks. Nostalgia gassers and super stocks. Ozark Super Shifters and more. It's all kicking off Friday evening at 7 with 2 huge funny car qualifiers. Then on Saturday, final qualifying at 2 p.m., followed by no-holds-barred eliminations at 6. And we're not done yet. See incredible flame-throwing jet funny cars lighting up the sky both nights. Parking and pit passes are free with your general admission ticket. Go to CordovaDragway.com to get them now. The biggest, wildest, and most chaotic packed funny car event of the season. It's the Twisted Shifters Summer Nationals, presented by 360 Steel. Friday and Saturday, June 16th and 17th at Cordova Dragway. Who's your money on?
Well, the Summer Nationals are coming at Cordova, but David, we certainly have, I think, top 3 epic chaos events to go over of what we experienced in Eddyville Raceway Park. The double between Nitro Chaos and Funny Car Chaos. What a show it was.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we thought it was going to be good, and we had every reason to expect that it was going to be good, but I'm not sure anybody was ready for how well this thing played out. It was packed with race cars. All of our Funny Car Chaos and Nitro Chaos competitors were there, just from all over the country. And it was just mind-boggling how many Nitro cars, how many funny cars of all different types came in there. And I kept hearing it over and over, and I know that you've heard it too, is that, that was one of the smoothest shows there's ever been. No oil downs, no delays. There were a handful of delays because there's always going to be, a little something. Right. But for the most part, it was, there was no 30-minute, 40-minute, hour-long oil down delay. It was just pair after pair after pair. And I mean, they were getting it done down that racetrack. I mean, those crew chiefs had turned up the wick, and it was absolutely amazing to see the performances that were being laid down from every class.
Certainly. I know there were career bests for some there at Eddyville. You've got like Jeff Cameron showing up, qualifying with a 366, making him number 1 for Funny Car Chaos in the A field. And then we've got our first funny car in the 340 club that we understand now, in Nitro Chaos with Dale Creasy showing up as Grand Marshal. And I've saw the final round for the first time through Megan Meyer's onboard footage. What an epic final round between Megan Meyer and Dale Creasy. That was wild. And your call was a great call on it, too, because I'm listening in my ear. That's the only thing I know of what is going on when I'm on the top end. And what a drag race that was to end the night. And all the racing action was great. Even some chaotic moment in the final with Newkirk striking the wall.
They went through a lot of cones at Eddyville. I will say that the biggest amount of downtime that we probably had was replacing cones at the finish line and at where the speed timer starts just before the finish line. And Newkirk got his second bing down there, but man, that guy's a wild man, and he really put on a great show. So that's another race that they've come into, and he's been runner up the last couple of races that he's attended. So he's not knocking on the door. Yes. That's 4, and so he's gonna cross that threshold and become one of the chaos winners. At one of these days in the near future. But boy, it was so good. You talked about career best performances. Jordan Ballou has been racing with us since day one. He's only missed one race ever on account of the daughter being born, and they came out and they were struggling, and they had to completely rebuild the transmission. after doing some work on replacing the head, and they were like, "Are we even going to make it to make this qualifying run?" Come out and put up a career best elapsed time at 4:34, and then they come back later and go 4:33, and it was, it's just one of them deals. It's kind of like everybody was hitting on all 8. It was career best, and I mean, margins of victory are very small. And did you see the drone footage? You said you just saw Megan and Dale Creasy in the final from the in-car camera. The drone footage on that was really good too, but there was so many great captures by all the media personnel there. I can't say enough about how exciting the racing was.
Truly an epic event. I think it's an event that Eddyville Raceway Park. Gerald kept saying we set the bar really high. And also, I just want to publicly state, if next year is like rain all 3 days, it's Gerald Kramer's fault. He continually said, we set the bar too high. I just don't know how we got this good weather. This just don't happen. It's Gerald's fault if it is all rain next year. That's all I'm saying, okay? I'm putting it on him now. But to the people of Eddyville Raceway Park, show ran right, and it went smoothly. And, fans got in, fans got out, great crowds all days. And to Warren Evans, the stream looked good. I don't dare to say, I know, because I was able to watch some other productions over the weekend very briefly. The best drag racing stream of the weekend was Funny Car Chaos, Nitro Chaos, Chaos in the Cornfield. It is that simple. It's a matter of fact. I know it. So to everybody, yourself, Chris, what a show. Going to be hard to duplicate.
I know. And we keep saying that because we have these racers show up and just, really show out. And it's like, how much more can you do? Well, I don't know. Each time that we say that, they raise the bar just a little bit and raise the bar a little bit more. And it's, Darren Foster, Twisted Shears and 360 Steel, and they've got their name on this particular event and on the Summer Nationals, the Funny Car Chaos event coming up at Cordova. And I mean those guys, they just have done so much to amplify what's going on, and they love what we're doing. They love and they bring their own ideas too. And, so many cool things there. And we could not be more excited to be representing Darren Foster and Twisted Shifters and 360 Steel, and Roger Stanke with Stanke Motorsports, making sure that we were also able to be there and again, elevate the sport. But, we go on and I see the comments here about people just chiming in, going, reinforcing exactly what we're saying. It was, Chris, you are so right. God wanted to see this epic event because, we say it all the time. The good Lord's a Funny Car fan, and he's becoming a Nitro Chaos fan too. It could not have been any better. 82 degrees, blue skies, white puffy clouds, which is what I ask for every time we have a race. And a lot of times we get it, but we sure did at this one. And, it was good. Oh, and people coming in, not just from Iowa to see this race. People were there from everywhere. I got a chance to meet Moss from England, and he comes up and he asked me, he said, "Are you the guy that does the YouTube?" And I misunderstood because I don't think of this as YouTube. He said, "I recognize your face." And I'm like, you know what? There's more people that have seen my face than I realized. Somebody else said, "We hear you all the time, but we never see you." And that's mostly true at the races. But people coming from England and people coming from all over the country, and then just chiming in with their positive comments about this was the race. This was grassroots. It was real racing. Not that anything else is not real racing, but we've got people really going for it with an opportunity, to produce at whatever their budget allows them to race at. We've got a way for them to get it done. And it was, Chris and Tara, I know have got to be feeling great about that, and Scott Gardner's contribution to this thing is amazing. Yours is, Lee, and so it's just elevated each and every time. So 3 weeks when we get to Cordova, I'm like, how exciting is that going to be? It's this year has been really so good, and I can't wait for the next one.
It has been so good. It's been so good in so many ways. It's really completely overshadowed the postponements that we've had because the Texas Motorplex went off well, though there was a postponement. And I think we're going to be looking forward to a Cajun Nationals at the end of the year that is going to have so many storylines going into it, and it's going to be a great event in its own right. This one, though, that we just wrapped up, wow, the bar has been set high. And we've got Hot Rod Herbie in the green room. We'll get to him in just a moment as our first guest of the night. But, David, before we do that, we got to take the time to talk about the most epic warm-up session I think drag racing has ever experienced, or at least that I have ever experienced in my life, that we started from the very one end of the pits, firing up a car, and went down the entire row of pits, firing up each and every car, just about from nitro to methanol of all different types, whether front engine dragster, fuel altered, funny car, nitro injected dragster, injected funny car, whatever it was. What a mob of people that were getting their warm up and nitro fix. It was so thick, David, I had to go to the other side of the trailers to get to the pits to do filming because I couldn't get through the crowd. Wild, man.
Yeah. No, it was great. The first time we did a warm up type thing was at the second race we ever did. It was at Mocan, and but what we did is we counted down from the tower, and everybody started at the same time, and that was great. It was really cool. But this little adjustment on the set screw on the carburetor, so to speak, to make that little tweak to start at one end and just begin to go around the pits and firing one and then another, and sometimes you got 3 and 4 running at the same time. But the crowd built up the further we got, and as we got down towards the finish line area and the end of the pro pits, it was, you're right, Travis, it was bad to the bone. And the anticipation just kept building and kept building and kept building. And, everybody at the end of that was on go. And it was like, man, I can't wait to see what's going to happen on the racetrack, because if it's this exciting in the pits, it's going to be out of this world. And it was. It truly, truly was.
Yes, sir, it was. Well, David, look, if you're ready, we'll take a break and we will bring on the C Field winner, Mr. Hot Rod Herbie himself.
Let's go.
Stage. They'll bring the revs sky high. They'll stage the cars, and then they'll be on the way down the racetrack for their date with destiny. Revs up, get loud in here. A good match right here, and the cones get taken out yet again as Mike Newkirk knocks out those finish.
Cornfield. That cornfield's probably a lot worse than what's been decided.
Can't slow it down without certain things. You sure you didn't knock your head or anything? How about your arm? Everything good?
Mike, sir, you are our wild man, resident wild man. What happened out there? You couldn't make the turn.
I couldn't make the turn. I pulled the chutes late. I mean, I didn't see him out there, and all of a sudden I looked over, and there he was out the window. I'm like, so I didn't let off, and sure enough, I pulled the chutes, but it was too late. Tried to make the turn, and it just didn't work. Didn't work. So
we're glad you're all right.
All right, thank you. Thanks.
What can 360 Steel do for you? We make custom steel products made right here in Illinois. Fire pits of all kinds, knockdown styles to take along anywhere. Hold your drinks high with our drink stands while throwing horseshoes or bags. We have a complete line of military to firefighter signs, flags, hats, stickers, and more, along with many styles of decor. Welcome signs and custom clocks to a number of different monograms and signs. Personalized, custom options for your perfect sign. Bare steel or powder coated to last indoors and outdoors. 360steel.com. Spell it out. 360steel.com.
All right, Justin Herbst, welcome to the show. Hot Rod Herbie. Man, look, congratulations, but certainly thank you for always putting on a good show in your funny car.
Well, that's what we're there for, is to put on the show. So I try my best.
Well, you do it so well, Herbie, and it is always a kick. It's always great to know that you're going to be at the races because, you know, when people come to a funny car race, the thing they want to see is smoky burnouts and in the house. Uh-oh. Well, like maybe a little technical difficulty is spinning.
Who? Herbie, can you still hear us?
I can hear you. Yeah, it was cutting out on
Uh-oh.
Dave.
Okay, it was cutting out on Dave. Dave, try that again.
Oh. Okay. Well, we were just talking about when people come to a funny car show, they want to see long, smoky burnouts on the ragged edge of being out of control, and I know you've got it well in hand, but you sure make it look great.
Yeah, like I say, if I can't really plan on winning the event, I'm going to make the best of the show of it. And you know, 3 weeks after the race, a lot of times people don't even remember who the winner was, but they'll remember a car doing a 3/4 track burnout.
You are so right. You are so right. Well, so take us through qualifying as you wound up getting into the field and put up some good numbers in that execution or Corvette.
So first qualifying round was 446, and that's a very good number for us. My personal best, I think, was a 443 coming into the event. So we go back after that, and I was talking to some old friends of ours that were at the Goodyear trailer and talked them into kind of sponsoring or donating, or however you want to word that. Ronnie and Gloria paid for a brand new set of slicks for me to try. And very next pass, we went out and set a 438. So another personal best. Second pass out, actually about the fourth pass the car had after hitting the wall at Dallas. So that set the bar pretty good. And then we just changed pill a couple times, and we were back to the 440s, which is still a good number for us.
Yeah. Well, it kind of set the stage for what was to come about in eliminations. Now, in the first round, you know, one of the things that I'm really enjoying about the 2023 season that's a carryover from 2022 is we've got you and we've got several other young racers that are stepping out with new funny cars and coming in. And, you know, you've got guys like Chris Batty that's a defending champion going into Cordova in a few weeks. And you will line up against another one of the new young guns, and Toad Neal in the Burning Love. And so you guys were squaring off there in the first round of eliminations. Take us through that one.
So, actually, I'm really impressed with the way that car's running. You know, I had 2 years of running a couple events, and I was only running 470s. So for talking to them and where they're at, you know, they're laying down really good numbers. I actually, you know, he went a 463 against me at a 443. You know, so those numbers that they're laying down for the first year in are very impressive on my side, because I remember running my car at 470s, and I was happy. So for the first year, they're doing really good, and car's beautiful. So pretty proud of those guys because they're doing something right away.
Now we talk about the show that you put on the racetrack, but there's always a little something going on in the pits. As you're certainly a gentleman that knows how to have a lot of fun, and so you and Wayne Hoffman and several others were no doubt keeping it lively out there.
Yeah, Wayne come up with the Big Block Chevy Mafia, just trying to mess with the Mississippi Mafia. So that was kind of a cool deal to be a part of, and that's cool that Wayne kind of included me. We've pitted together a couple, 4 times, 5 times now. So, just same deal back down at Dallas when the A-arm broke. If it wasn't for Wayne and, his guys, Tom Brown welded it, without Wayne, I wouldn't know Tom, and the car be broke going home at Ennis. So, since he took me under the wing and him being who he is pretty big deal.
No doubt. And the camaraderie that has, that is established between your two teams and quite a few others, because there's always some time that that's a part that somebody's going to need. And, you kind of have to just start doing an Easter egg hunt and go trailer to trailer and see if you can find what you need. Do you still have the Scorpion, the Monza?
I do.
Okay.
It is, it might come back at Kearney. Now that the Vet's running as good as it is, I was actually going to pull the motor out of the Vet, put it back in the Monza, but that Vet is going pretty straight, A to B. It's I made 5 passes that were all in the 438 to 446. Our round 1 I had the 443 with the 8, and round 2 I had a 443 with a 9. And I don't know if you guys looked, or a lot of people questioned whether I even look at the car or not. And I never pulled the valve cover all weekend. I never did anything all weekend except for change the pulley for the final round.
Yeah, and then your semifinal opponent, you were taking on the points leader. Alex Barker has definitely been on a roll, but you brought that to a screeching halt.
Yeah, and actually, if you look back to round 1 against Michael Neal, when I staged the car, the bulbs barely flicker, so the bumper on the Vet is still kind of messed up from Ennis, and they barely flicker, and then I can go into stage with the tire. And round 2, I thought that I had another 25 inches to roll into the tire, and I was already there. So I actually double bulbed him. It was not on intention. I thought I had another 20 inches to go, and I didn't. Watching his pass, I got everything written down. So I had an 064 on the tree. He had an 052, and I ran a 443. And watching the video, he kind of goes out and shakes a little, running a 516. So I don't know if the tree messed him up because it shook, but again, that was not a purpose trying to knock the points leader out, because obviously I'm not running for points. I'm just having fun.
Yeah. Well, it was a win that advanced you to the final. And in that final round, you taken on the Nitro car of Chuck Lofton and the Chuck and Angie team out of Seguin. So take to that.
I lost you for a second.
First time you had lined up against the Nitro car?
No, I actually ran.
So in the final round, you're lined up against the Nitro Psycho.
Right. And, I've ran a couple Nitro cars before. And one thing that was cool is I went over there to tell them I wanted to do a big burnout because there's about an 85-90% chance he's going to beat me because I know what he was laying down for numbers before. So I went over there and told him to let me start backing up before he fires to do a burnout. And he goes, "How far are you going to go?" I go, "I'll go pretty far just to make the final." And he said if I'd go 200 foot, shut it down at 330, he would do one with me. So usually I go through the water and hit the throttle. This time I stopped and I waited for him to start rolling ahead. That way we both made a cool show. I actually treated him by a 1/10.5 almost. And then, like I said, I changed pulleys for that pass. I turned it up quite a bit more and laid down another personal best, ET, and mile an hour.
David, we still got you?
A lot of buffering
Yeah.
going on. We're
Lot of
not
buffering
not
tonight,
quite
yeah.
getting everything.
All right. Well, we got you back now.
Well, I can finish that.
Lost him again.
Yeah, that one didn't come through, David. Sorry, man.
Yeah, I think. Well, the rest of that story is 27.
All right, so Justin, David has stated that
Well, this is
the
fun,
rest
isn't
of that story is that personal best, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Let's go from there.
Okay. So, like I said, qualifying first, the 438 with the new slicks from Ronnie and Gloria Warman. That was actually a bigger victory than the 427 because my goal for the car is a 435. So when we got that, that was a pretty huge victory just for a personal reference.
Well, what a weekend that you had here at Chaos in the Cornfield. And I mean, to have the trials that you had there in Ennis and now to pick up a victory, that has got to make you feel like everything has turned around. Do you get that sense, or is it now put yourself in a situation to work that much harder and continue to improve upon the program?
I really think the car can live running 430s. I'm probably not going to try to turn it up much more because I'm on my own, kind of dollar. So, it's kind of a deal that if the car is happy running 430s, I think we need to stay there. I'm not going to go out and try to run a 4.0 and blow it up and then have to sit in the garage all year.
I think that's a wise move. David. Oh man, something with David's connection just is not meshing right tonight. So we'll keep working with David and see what happens. It might be sometimes these connections just do not work out. Well, Herbie, congratulations on the win. What is the next race that we'll see you at? Will you be at Cordova or is it on down the road?
No, I think, like I was talking earlier, I think I'm going to try to get the Monza together and come to Kearney with it. That's home track. So again, I can't really break the car before our home area. So I think I'm going to hold off for Kearney. If everything looks good there, we might go down to Albuquerque. Maybe that's a deal that is, we're talking about it. So just got to see how Kearney goes first. And if everything checks good there, then we might go down to New Mexico.
All right. Wow. Well, we're looking forward to seeing the Hot Rod in competition more. And thank you for being so entertaining. Congratulations on your win. And we look forward to seeing you at Kearney. Man, take care. Thank you for being on the show tonight.
All right. Thank you.
All right, folks, we'll take a break. We'll see if we can get David back and all the connections working out and everything's good. We'll talk a little bit more specifically about Nitro Chaos because it was a doubleheader there at Chaos in the Cornfield. Funny Car Chaos and Nitro Chaos together for the first time ever. But I'm sure we know for a fact that we're going to see it again even next year, maybe even more. You never know what is going to be coming out of the mind of Chris Graves. I actually talked with him a little bit about that last night on the Competition Plus Power Hour and got a preview of what the Wild promoter
All right, back folks. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I lost internet, so we'll bring David back on, see if we've got him good this time, and I'll try to work on things live. You just never know what happens. David, we got you.
Yeah, I think so. I was just sending you a message saying I'm not sure what's going on. It says I'm backstage.
All right, you take it away, man. I'm gonna drop out and try to fix things.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Well, so we're talking about the Nitro Chaos show at Chaos in the Cornfield, and so many nitro burners in there. Over 20 cars going for 16 spots. So as you would imagine, it was a slugfest with the AA fuel dragsters, the AA fuel altereds, the injected nitro dragsters, and the supercharged funny cars, and it just came down to an all-out brawl. Getting a chance to see these competitors go at it and having it be so close. The supercharged slingshots, the injected nitro dragsters with the motor in the back, the funny cars, it was so great. And coming down to in that CP Carrillo B field, the guy that I've been looking to come back to Chaos for quite some time, Jimmy Gifford, because he raced Funny Car Chaos for a couple of events and entered several more, but Jim Gifford, that Svengali funny car coming in, they got the win in the CP Carrillo B field of funny cars, and they were bink right down the middle each time. And so, man, just a great job with them. Jim had been a runner-up in Funny Car Chaos. Comes with the Nitro burner, which is what he ran in the Funny Car Chaos competition. That was before there was the Nitro Chaos, but he comes in and it was an impressive showing. Really, really was. I didn't get a chance to see you, Jim, but I was looking for you. I was excited to see that you were there. We'll see you at another one. But Gary Wheeler, just an outstanding performance for that team out of Tulsa. The Grand Prix Autosport organization really putting up some good numbers and getting to the final round, winding up as the runner-up. And the points haven't come out yet, but it's going to be very interesting to see how this all shakes out. And then once again up in the McKinney Corp A field, Megan Meyer-Lingner gets the win in that deal. In just an amazing final round against the funny car of Dale Creasy Jr. And Dale Creasy and his team. If you were tuned in last night as Chris was on the Power Hour, and they were talking about what a great time that they had, which makes us all feel great. Those of us that go to Chaos events regularly, we know it's all about rule number one is to have fun, and having fun is most definitely what's happening at Funny Car Chaos events. So for Megan to get the win over Dale Creasy in that final was great. But let's talk another one. The Iowa funny cars doing so well, and there were so many of them. It was just great. We noticed, we know that there's a handful, but I think they almost all came out. And boy, that Carl Chevrolet car of Massey was really, really strong, and getting his first win. Lance Van Houen, the Van Houen brothers, that was a epic final round, and he did not have any kind of an easy road, even though they qualified number 6. So getting to the final round from the number 6 spot, that's not the easy road. That may be, other than getting there from number 8, that might be the hardest road to get there is number 6. But they did. He got it done, and we're hoping to have Lance on in a future episode to talk about that. But that final round win was a big deal over Jungle Mike. I think Jungle Mike is probably the new name for Newkirk, because that dude is a wild man. And,
he certainly is.
So Jungle Mike, he was right there, almost got one, but it's going to have to wait till another time. But our next guest that I can't wait to talk to because he's got such a story, and they have been, this year has been good to them. They put that new funny car together last year, the gorgeous Mile High Express. They've been they ran at that last big Nitro show up at Bandimere Speedway. Just really made such a wonderful impression and put up big numbers, and had some trouble. And so we'll talk with Steve Grabowski next, that got the win in the Alkydigger B field up there at CHAOS in the Cornfield. So we're going to a break before we bring Steve on.
Yeah, we'll do that. I do want to say, went by Murph McKinney's shop yesterday, David, and he loved what he saw out of Nitro Chaos and Funny Car Chaos at Eddyville Raceway Park. So when you have people like Dale Creasy, Murph McKinney, and so many others that have been doing this for so long say, this is one of the best events, this is one of the best times we've had in a long time, it reminds me of this and that. Yes, I dare say, no, I just do say that the Chaos brand is the best drag racing fit out there. Now we'll take a break.
I concur.
Steve Grabowski next here on Chaos Live.
Tim Cullinan of the Irish Car Bomb. He's done well here at Eddyville, but do you still fear that corn at the end of the track?
Well, it is a short shutdown here, but the corn ain't too high right now, so if we go out there, we're going to blaze right through that field.
Well, jumping on the left side of the Mad Max Mustang while the Camaro goes through at 4:08 at 169.
I was ready to make the turn, and I'm like, it ain't gonna make it. So,
Tim, you're the first to find the corn this weekend. It's not too bad though. Doesn't seem to be.
No, I just never thought I'd be able to do this, but the car doesn't look too bad. It ran a 4.0 down the racetrack. One of the chutes got hung up, so we need to correct that, and we'll be out here for Q2.
McKinney Motorsports is your #1 source for all your chassis needs. McKinney Motorsports is the leading chassis parts supplier and fabricator in Nitro drag racing. From custom tanks and fittings, full chassis builds, body mounts, steering components, fasteners, tabs, clamps, composite parts, and much more. Our household name in the racing world guarantees added performance on the track. Join our list of proven winners that spans over 50 years of racing experience.
All right, Steve Grabowski, welcome to Chaos Live. Got it done with a different shell, but winning nonetheless.
Yeah, it was not what we planned to go out there with for sure, but we were able to have a backup body and come out and have some fun and represent.
David, I don't know if he's going to have waterworks tonight, but whenever the top end interview comes out in the recap, this dude was emotional, like truly almost speechless.
Well, it's a big deal, and congratulations, Steve. I mean, you did it in fine style, and you just continue a role that is very, very impressive. And I pulled in and I saw that Firebird body, and I was like, that's a beautiful car. Who is that? But so tell us about your experience at Bandimere before we get into Chaos in the Cornfield, because that was extremely impressive.
Well, thanks. Yeah, we're really proud of that. It was a last-minute call from the Bandimere family. They had a couple of cars cancel for that Night of Fire and Thunder event. So being that it's going to be the last year on the mountain, we decided to haul the car up. We had it loaded up and ready to go to Eddyville. And we went out and kind of even surprised ourselves. But the car ran really well. We set a track record, went 573 at 250. Turned into an interesting run because the throttle pedal hung wide open. Ended up banging the blower and hurting some of the mounts on the body. Unfortunate, but I tell you what, I don't know about everybody else, but I kind of tend to believe things happen for a reason, because I'm thankful that it happened there and not in Eddyville.
And why is that?
Well, if I'm lying, I'm dying. I've been told about the shutdown area in Eddyville is kind of short.
Oh, okay.
And I never myself a farmer by any means, so I didn't want to go in the cornfield.
Okay, yeah, throttle pedal hanging open at Eddyville might be a bad day at the track.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
I got you. No, but that was such an impressive win, and you're a journeyman racer. You've been doing this for how long?
Since 1995, 96, so a little while. Been very fortunate to get to drive a lot of different types of cars, for a lot of great people.
Yeah, and now when was your first? Because you guys look like naturals at Nitro, but that's not natural. So tell me about your background in Nitro cars.
Well, my first car actually was a top fuel dragster, way back in 95, 96. And so we ran that a little bit, enough to find out we really didn't have any business being there and certainly couldn't afford it. So that's when I ventured into the alcohol ranks and was able to drive for the original Mile High Express owner, Jerry Green. We've had a lot of great help putting this car together. Mike Cavalieri's been the guiding force, advising us on how to do and what to buy, all the right pieces, and not reinventing the wheel. We've just followed the roadmap that he's laid out for us. Colin, he's done a great job putting the car together, making sure everything was right. And it's come together pretty quick. I mean, we only have 14 runs on the car in total, and we're learning and getting better. The car's getting better, and it's really exciting. It's a lot of fun. We're having a great time.
14 runs on the car, track record at Vandermeer, win in the Alkydigger B Field at Chaos in the Cornfield, best appearing car at Pinwell Knights Raceway. Man, there's folks that race for years and don't have that kind of stuff on their resume. How does 2023 feel to you?
It's been great. It's been great. We're just having a lot of fun, David. That's the whole reason for putting this car together. Like I said, I've driven for a few different people and have been blessed with that for sure. But when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, your fate and your future is in someone else's hands. So we decided to finish this car. I've actually kind of been building it for 6 or 7 years, but I would take time out, driving opportunities, racing opportunities with other folks. Tony and Andy Eben here in Colorado, James Stevens in Nebraska and his family cars. So it would detract from what we were trying to do, or what I was trying to do putting this car together. Here a couple years ago, been racing with Tom Furchess. That name might sound familiar, and not only because he was the runner-up in the B Field at the recent Eddyville race, but went down with him to the inaugural race in Ennis a few years ago, which we ended up winning. Excellent outing. On the way down, as I mentioned, Colin texted me, "What are you doing?" And I showed him a picture that we were in the hauler headed down. And when I got back to town, he had the car unloaded and he was ready to get going and finishing this car up.
Man, that's great. Inspiration comes where it comes from, and that just seemed to be the catalyst right there. Well, I had known that you worked with Tom on his car for a while, and then went out to Penwell, I believe it was, and you drove Wayne and Galen's Prairie Fire car, and then next time out, you're not driving somebody else's car, you're driving that beautiful Mile High Express. Did you build that car from the ground up? Did it come from another car that you've converted to your own, or tell me about that?
Well, that was a car that, as I mentioned, Tony and Andy Eben owned. We raced together for a few years. When we parted ways, I ended up with the car. That blue body was, we ran that on there as a alcohol funny car in the NHRA Lucas Oil Series. But it was always meant to be the Mile High Express. When we parted ways, I said to myself that we're going to put together a nostalgia nitro car. And that's what we started out as pursuing the Mustang body. I'm a Ford guy, so it was just natural to go that way. As I mentioned, Jerry Green, the original Mile High Express owner, kind of a tribute to him. He did a lot for me, gave me a lot of opportunity. Colin grew up across the street from Jerry, and so we just had to make it a mission to finish that car in his honor.
Wow, that is a great story, and of course, those people that help you out along the way and help you define your vision. That's that's certainly someone that's worthy of being honored. So you talk about going back to that first Funny Car Chaos Classic at Ennis, and that was a day that was really big for the Colorado teams, as a lot of Colorado teams. So fast forward to Chaos in the Cornfield, and you're in the Alkydigger B Field final with Tom Furches, but in the semifinal, 3 of the cars were from the land of the high and mighty, and with Tony Arcuri with arguably his best outing in Funny Car Chaos competition, and that beautiful Crown Vic of his. You had to be, the state of Colorado was well represented, my friend.
Yes, it was. It was pretty cool, to say the least. It was a lot of fun. Great to get to meet Tom in the final. I know he's chasing the points, and so it was bittersweet maybe to beat him, but at the same time, it was awesome. He's been great. He's come by my shop and said hello since, so he's still talking to me. He's not too upset about it, but we had a good time, had a good laugh. It was a lot of fun. As you mentioned, that first Ennis race was 64 funny cars, I think. Holy cow, what a show that was. So fun to be there. And as you mentioned, we had 3 funny cars from Colorado win at that event. So Colorado is a funny car state, I would say.
Oh, and it has been, it has been for a long time. You mentioned the Mile High Express, Jerry Green, and of course, I always remember John Decker and Roger Guzman with the Assassination, Art Ward with the Avenger, and and just, of course, Keith, the Jackson family racing with us, and I know I'm leaving some out, but there's been so many over the years. Well, what a heritage. And what a great history that you come from, but everybody starts somewhere. You just happened to start along, a good while ago, and another up and coming racer who's somebody that you wound up squaring off with in the semifinal is that Gambler car out of Senatobia, Casey Giesland, and there's new racers coming on. Tell me about your feeling for Funny Car Chaos. You're choosing to race Funny Car Chaos on, more than one occasion, maybe not full time, but seems like fairly regularly. Tell me about your thoughts on running Funny Car Chaos and what it does for the sport, and why do you run with us?
Well, I think it's great. Chris and Tara, they've put together an awesome program. Run what you brung, truly, as long as it's a funny car. It's so cool to see so many different types of funny cars out there, different power plants, different ideas, different thoughts. The people are great. The camaraderie is great. Competition's intense, and yet it's fun at the same time. I don't think there's any other place to be right now.
Well, we are really glad that you're a part of the Chaos family and excited that you're racing with us. And you know what? We hear this said a lot, but it seems to be true. It just looks like you're living your dream.
Yeah, most definitely. It's something that obviously we all put a lot of heart, passion, and amongst other things, effort and time and money into. And I'm blessed. I'm lucky that I get to do it, doing it with the people that I love, and the support, the fun. It is a dream, and it was like a fairy tale weekend for us. We struggled with that other body. It created a lot more drag and downforce than we anticipated, but we were able to overcome it, and it just felt Sunday like it was going to be our day. Things went our way. Car ran well. It was awesome.
Some days it's like that, and I've noticed that you and your crew, there's a sense of togetherness and family that's just really admirable. And I know you and they are all having a great time. Well, man, I just can't tell you how excited we are for you to get that first Funny Car Chaos win. And it goes from all of Chaos Nation. Man, thanks for tuning in and telling us your story. And we look forward to seeing you on the schedule whenever you get a chance to. What are you thinking about the rest of the year for Chaos?
Well, we'll be in Kearney for sure. The Mustang will be back. We'll be back with the Mustang on the car. It's getting repaired as we speak, and we'll just kind of go from there. We're going to probably go to Albuquerque. It's close to home. I'm sure that we'll end up in an event somewhere down the road as well. As we all know how addicting this stuff is, especially after having a great weekend. Cordova sure would be fun, but I think we're going to just sit still, regroup, and get ready for Kearney.
All right. Well, it has to be a rush, and I know it was. And man, just enjoy that, and soak it all in, and let that dream still be lit alive. And we can't wait to see you at Kearney and wherever else.
Thank you, Dave.
Down the racetrack here at Eddyville Raceway Park.
Pete Dove drives back from the ashes, and certainly back from the ashes. You've had history here at Eddyville, but making brand new history today and running well, even beating a high-performing car like Joey Haas's Nimrod.
Yes, the 56 was expected. I mean, we finally got a baseline on the spark plugs and the tune-up, and we can add and subtract and have a pretty good idea what's going on. So it's been a great weekend. A few main bearing issues, but the boys are chasing it.
You also do more in Nitro Chaos than just race. You provide fuel even with Dove Fuels. Why do you love drag racing? Why do you love this series?
I don't know. When I started racing, Kurt took my first race in '87, and the people in drag racing have been better than anything I've ever done. And I think Chris has got a great idea, and if we can support it and grow it, it'll be great for everybody.
David, What an
That's
epic
a,
event.
that's a good guy right there.
Yeah, Pete's cool. Pete's cool. Glad he had a good day. You know, the history that I was referring to was, you know, they hit the wall like a couple of years ago at Eddyville, and they only had it out like one more time, I think, at Nitro Chaos, and if I remember correctly, and it set, and he actually drove Jody Austin's Bushwhacker there in Edgewater, and they had a decent day. Made the semifinals. He made the semifinals at this most recent event. So Pete Dove is flapping those dove wings in good performance.
Yeah, these you know, I mean, the guy's got to be a genius. Either that or he has geniuses working in the shop at County Road 7, because they are coming up with so many cool things there, inventions, and it's just you know, it's born out of experience. Is what could we do to make things work better? I just love that about them, and you know, such a great guy, you know, an exemplary person in nitro racing, and part and supportive of the chaos. It's great. It is just great, man.
That it is. And I mean, David, I look forward to getting to Cordova. That's our next race. But this particular race, I mean, everybody's been talking about it. It is going to linger and continue to linger in our minds of just how good it was. And so many of our events, they're good. I can't think of a bad one that I've been to yet. Yeah, there's been challenges, but bad? No, certainly not. But as Gerald has said, as Chris has said, you, myself, Warren, everybody involved, this one reached a whole nother level. And I cannot wait until we do the double again. And hey, David, what do you think about more than one double in a year? What do you think about that?
You know, I go back to the first time we ever met is when you came out to Eddyville for the inaugural Nitro Chaos. And so what you saw there and how it's advanced so quickly to what we just experienced. And, you know, that double, doggone it, that could be addictive. It was just, I mean, Chris talks about the needle in the arm for, you know, for racing in chaos. And, you know, there's no bad chaos race. And if it's just Nitro Chaos or it's just Funny Car Chaos, it's not just, it's an epic event. But you are right. It's going to linger. It's going to be something that that will be hard to top. And because I mean, there's going to be a high from this race. Well, I don't know. I think it'll probably last until about June 16th and 17th when we unload at Cordova. You know, that Father's Day weekend and the Summer Nationals up there at a track that's got so much history.
Yes.
You know, it's
and last year's event there was spectacular.
It was, and there's just, you know, there's just a mystique about Cordova that you know it is Cordova. It's one of those names that you heard ever since you got interested in drag racing, no matter when you got in,
right?
Because and it has lived up to the billing each time that we've been there. And you know, going into that show, and you know, there's so many jet funny cars. Last year with the jet funny cars racing against the regular funny cars, that was different and that was fun.
It was historical. You know, you mentioned, you know, no matter where you've come in and you hear about Cordova, you know, I'm in my mid-30s, and Cordova had a mystique as a fan with the World Series of Drag Racing and its history and individuals that have raced there like Karamessinis and Garlits and Muldowney and so many others. To go there last year and do something that Brett Kepner himself confirmed is actually a first and historic, and to be a part of it, that was spectacular. That was cool.
Yeah. There's not all that many times that you can say I was there when it happened the first time, but we got that opportunity, and you know what a great thing that was. You know, nobody can ever take that away, and It was, but this year is going to be great. There'll be jet funny cars in exhibition there, and the list of entries for the Funny Car Chaos event at Cordova. We're over 30. So once again, it is just a house full, and of course they have such great additional classes that run there. I think Victory Performance Nostalgia Superstock is going to be there too. But several other classes, gassers and Ozark Mountain super shifters, and it's going to be a kick. It's going to be wall to wall drag racing. They've got great brackets. I think they're running box and no box too. So
yes,
it's going to be bam, bam, bam all day long with great racing. And what that staff up there, they're terrific. They're just terrific. So anybody within 200 or 300 miles of the Quad Cities, Father's Day weekend, can't think of any better place to be. That's where I'm going to be, and I hope everybody will, show up and join us for that one. It's going to be good.
It is going to be good. You mentioned, if we may say it this way, the supporting classes. And at Eddyville, there are some cool classes that race there, like the Sweet Corn Outlaws and the Super Stockers. And the small tire guys put on a tremendous show. That final between the small tire guys was almost explosive in some regards. It was a fascinating final. They were surely hanging it out for the win. So all across the board, what an epic event there at Eddyville Raceway Park for Chaos in the Cornfield. We're looking forward to an epic event, obviously at Cordova with just Funny Car Chaos. And David, well, defending champion Kirk Williams, they are not quite having the year that they want to have right now. Fascinating that they are having the struggles that they are currently having.
Yeah, and and who knows, some days it's 2022 they could do no wrong, and 2023 it just hasn't gone their way at 2 out of 3 races. But you look back to Penwell and you go, there was no more dominating performance that you could have. They came away with every point that you could get, and they did it in convincing style. But there's always, when you're on top of the mountain, everybody's gunning for you.
Right.
Everybody's coming after you because you have set the standard. And they have certainly set the standard. And now, this race last year, Kirk was sick, and they had another first round exit because he shouldn't even been in the car because he felt so bad. But he chose to do it anyway, even though it was a non-points race. But I think that they're going to rebound because that's just too good a team to stay down for very long. But the thing about it is, they got to put a big number on the board every time they go down the racetrack because the person in the other lane is really going to be trying to put down the best number they've ever put down before. And so, that's one of the things about it. It's tougher, but you're not going to find a lot of teams any tougher than the Williams brothers. And but it doesn't mean that they can't be beat because it has been shown that it can be done. Of course, it's also been shown that beating yourself is when you're trying to keep up the level of excellence. Sometimes you can beat yourself, and I don't know exactly what's happened with them to cause them to not be in the winner's circle every single time this year like they were last year. But I know it's not something that they're content with, not by any stretch of the imagination. So, take them lightly at your own peril.
For sure. It is fascinating, though, and, the way Chaos works, the A, B, and C fields, and in the Nitro Chaos case, A and B, they're all competing for the same championship. And right now we've got a situation that, obviously you've been around with Chaos longer than I have. Maybe you can remember a moment where it was this way, but we have Alex Barker leading out of, in essence, a D-C field type of combination. And, well, it seems like those in the A field are beating themselves to death and shooting themselves in the foot, so to speak, and they are not able to catch Alex at the moment, and they're never going to face him.
Right. Well, and this is the first time that it's ever been that way. It's always been a possibility, but the first 3 years, Ken Singleton was as dominant. Well, one of those years he was as dominant as Kirk Williams was last year, and the other 2 years he had enough runners-up and semifinal finishes that he got the win. So you went from Singleton to Williams, and it was all A-field cars that were leading the points from day one till day last. And but this year, like you said, the A-field cars, it's been a slugfest up there, and so they've been knocking each other out. While Alex Barker has been able to get a win in 2 events and a semifinal at the third one, so he's still going to be up there in the points. I don't know if he's still going to be in the lead or not. It's going to be close. When the points come out, we know that, and I know that they've already got the points figured out. I just haven't had time to do them myself, and I just kind of taking the lazy man's way and waiting for Chris to put the points up, which it hadn't happened just yet, but it's coming. And so the C Field car, Alex Barker, being at the top and near the top, it's you can do it if you just continue to win that C Field every event. Guess who's going to be the champion? You are. And but it's not like there's any gimmies in the C Field either. None. No. Hot Rod Herbie 427. That's a great number. His personal best number to win the C Field. That number that you have to compete in the Wulff Pumps C Field, it just kind of keeps getting a little quicker.
Yes.
And but it's fascinating, and the competition is just so tight. There's nobody that's got a lock on anything, and that's good because everybody can come to the race going, you know what, I really could win this thing, and we continue to see it with first-time winners at CHAOS in the Cornfield, with Griboski and Lance Van Allen and Jim Gifford getting his first win over on the Nitro CHAOS side. So the door is wide open. You show up, you be consistent, you go A to B, and every once in a while you put up a personal best number, and the points are there, and all of a sudden you're in contention. We've seen it all 4 years, and now this is the 5th year of the points chase, and it's been just like that. So it's wide open, man. It is wide open, and it's just can't wait for the next one.
Cannot wait for the next one. Our next event, as we have mentioned, obviously, is Funny Car Chaos there at Cordova, June 6th and 17th. On down the road, though, there is a Nitro Chaos at Mocan, which is the next time we will see Nitro Chaos come back to a drag strip. And, you've been saying wide open. Well, no repeat winners right now this year in Nitro Chaos. And we have seen individuals that I really think they were not on anybody's list go out there and get wins in Nitro Chaos. I think collectively the drag racing world looked at Megan Meyer saying we're running for a championship, and they might have already gave her the trophy. And it's like, just hang on. That is not the case. And people like Todd Bruce and Levi Keenan and Jim Gifford and also
Gary Wheeler.
Well, that's right there. Gary Wheeler. He has made 2 final rounds this year in the 2 races and has shown the ability to be the most consistent, especially with Todd and Levi Keenan going out round 1. That was number 1 and 2 in points. So even though we've got an interesting battle shaping up in Funny Car Chaos, I can't wait to look at the Nitro Chaos points and see where everyone is at this point, and then who shows up to Mocan.
That's right. July 14th, 15th at Mocan. It's always a great time to be at Mocan. Anytime they open the gates, and especially when there's something that says Chaos on the card. So July 14th, 15th, Mocan. It'll be the 6th race. Tipping the can is what's going to be happening at Nitro Chaos at Mocan Dragway. That's the next Nitro Chaos event on the schedule. And it's getting tight. It's getting tight, as you will see when the points come out, fans, because it's there's a bunch of people that are intent on becoming the first champion in the DMP Awning Nitro Chaos Championship Tour.
Yes, and
believe that.
I know we mentioned it a little bit, but in speaking to competitors such as Todd Bruce, Dale Creasy, and others, they are refreshingly surprised about the program, and even things like payout and competing in the situation that is chaos. And just want to say, anybody out there watching, stop doubting, bring your car, and go race.
Amen to that. There's some competitors, and you'll have more fun than you probably had in a while. I can't speak for what kind of fun anybody has, but I know everybody comes to Chaos has a great time. And but when it's time to put the cars on the track and see who gets to the finish line first, you're going to find some tough customers, some tough competitors. Whatever you got, it's like you said, Lee, bring it on.
Bring it on. Well, we've been on for long enough, I think, David, and we need to cut it off. It's been once again good to be next to you here on Chaos Live. Thank you for all the hard work you put in and the fine announcing that you do. Good job there at Eddyville Raceway Park.
Well, thanks. I think I always talk about the hardest working people in show business are the people that on the race crew. But I tell you what, watching you out there at the starting line doing all the getting that camera where it needs to be, and then motoring on down to the shutdown area to get the interviews. You have added so much to the Chaos brand, and I'm very proud to work with you, and you do a fantastic job.
Thank you, sir. Everyone out there watching, thank you as well, because fans and competitors, well, you make it all worthwhile. It's just that simple. David, good night, and good night to everyone else.
We'll see all of you at the next race. Good night. Thanks for tuning in.
The biggest funny car event of the season is coming. Friday and Saturday, June 16th and 17th. The Twisted Shifters Summer Nationals. Presented by 360 Steel. It's Funny Car Chaos. With nearly 3 dozen outlaw flip-top plastic fantastics invading Cordova Dragway. Plus gear jammin' hot rods with Midwest Pro stocks, nostalgia gassers and super stocks, Ozark Super Shifters, and more. It's all kicking off Friday evening at 7 with 2 huge funny car qualifiers. Then on Saturday, final qualifying at 2 p.m., followed by no-holds-barred eliminations at 6. And we're not done yet. See incredible flame-throwing jet funny cars lighting up the sky both nights. Parking and pit passes are free with your general admission ticket. Go to CordovaDragway.com to get them now. The biggest, wildest, and most chaotic packed funny car event of the season. It's the Twisted Shifters Summer Nationals, presented by 360 Steel. Friday and Saturday, June 16th and 17th at Cordova Dragway. Who's your money on?